one chance. All I need is one chance. All I need is just one chance. All I need is one chance. All I need is just one.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, iRacing fans from around the world, welcome to another broadcast by All Pro Broadcasting. Tonight, we have got Friday Night Flights coming to you, Race 2 here at Daytona. Going to be some great racing out here tonight, brought to you by Pro Automotive, Richie B's Pizza, Blaze Pizza, and a whole bunch of individual sponsors out here. I want to give a big shout out right now to all the sponsors, all the drivers, all the great pizza guys out there that brought this Friday night series alive. This is race 2 of 20. No points are on the spread for these Friday night races, just a whole lot of fun. I am Scott Kolvik, your announcer for the evening. We have got Michael D'Amico, All Pro Broadcasting out there on cameras. We are looking at Pad as our grid sponsor, and our replays are brought to you by GW Graphics. Big shout out to GW Graphics, being rooted on by Becky Whitmer. Unfortunately, GW Graphics not on the track tonight, but he is in our thoughts and on our minds. And hopefully we're not going to hear a lot from the replay tonight, but if we do, GW Graphics is there providing us with those replays. Tonight we are here at Daytona. Tonight we are running the Xfinity class. Great Class B Camaros. We've got the Ford Mustang. We've got the Toyota out here. This is a 2.5 mile track here at Daytona. A lot like Talladega, but the apron here a lot more dangerous. Now what that means, folks, these drivers are going to have to beware of that left apron. The guys in the middle lane, they've got to be sure not to push that inside car down too close to that yellow line, because here at Daytona International Speedway, that yellow line, she'll get you every darn time and spin you sideways. So a lot of responsibility tonight on these drivers. But as I mentioned, no points are on the line. Just a lot of good, hard racing going on here tonight in race 2 of the Friday Night Flights. We have got 100 laps. We have got a mostly cloudy 65 degrees. Track temperature, a little hot, sitting there at 76. Meaning these cars aren't going to stick quite like the drivers are going to want them to, but we're going to see a lot of 3-wide action. These drivers tonight will be heading in the pit row under green flag circumstances about every 29 to 31 laps. So on a 100-lap race, hopefully we're going to see 3 rounds of green flag pit stops. But on these super speedways, you know there's going to be one big one. You know there's going to be one major car flying up over that fence, getting some air assault. Going to be some great racing, though, tonight. We've got our usual array of drivers out here tonight. We've got the number 33 of Vernon Margheim out here. Donald Stewart in the number 78. The great guys from Domino's Pizza, the number 85, Judd Danielson out here representing Domino's TYJ. We have got our sponsor, Greg McClendon with Blaze Pizza, driving the number 40 tonight, as well as our Pro Automotive sponsor, sponsoring up Tuesday, TNT Tuesday, the number 32 of Jason Russo, representing AAA Motorsports, the 004 of Michael Johnson, and our other sponsor with Richie B's Pizza, the number 14 of Richard Bros. A surprise visitor to us tonight is the number 4, Tor Helebo. Now, I have talked about Tor many times. If you remember his good buddy, Mark Maffett, recently deceased, I tell you what, guys, we would get Tor hooked up, we would get Mark hooked up, and that'd be a guaranteed 1 and 2 spot just about every night. We've also got the KMA Reaper, number 66, Edward Bray, and the number 24, Everett F. Lane with Fast Lane Racing. Going to be a lot of great racing out here tonight. These drivers have got 100 laps to get through. That is 250 miles here at Daytona. Looking at lap times right now in the mid-49, but as these drivers do heat up and get into this pack racing, surely we're going to see those speeds break down into the 48s. Now, right now, these drivers are taking down their qualifying times. Here at Daytona, I don't put a lot of stock in qualifying. Looking like we've only got 20 of the 31 drivers out here taking qualifying times. So a little bit of an interesting strategy we're going to see out here tonight. Some drivers opting to qualify, some drivers opting not to qualify. I myself, I would not qualify. What about you folks? Tell me what you would do in this situation. Big shout out to the fans out here, going to keep me company for the next hour and a half. So, fans, type it up. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me who you want to see. Taking up that number 1 spot out here tonight in race 2 is the number 4 of Tor Helebo, pulling down a 49.410 side by side with the number 24 of Everett F. Lane with a 49.415. Number 68, Lewis Sparks, P3 with a 49.419. My good friend Lynn McNeese on the number 84, position 4, with a 49.437. And rounding out the top 5, KMA's very own number 88, Gary Burt, with a 49.441. Our sponsor, number 40, Greg McClendon, position 6, looking sharp out there in the Blaze Pizza. Number 73, Justin Anderson, position 7. Edward Bray in the number 66, position 8. Number 18, Steve Dutz, position 9. And rounding out the top 10, the 004 Skittle, Michael Johnson, representing AAA Motorsports and PAD, rounding out the top 10. Number 74, Mark Bowes, sitting in position 11, side by side with Jason Russo in the number 72, P12. Ivan Garcia, position 13, in the number 72, Mickey D's Ford. Judd Danielson in the number 85, position 14. Number 30, Ed Hewitt, rounding out our top 15. Position 16 belonging to Donald Stewart in the number 78. The number 22 of Jay Dargett in position 17. 101, David Gainsworth in the number in position 18 in the number 101, and Vernon Margheim, position 19 in the number 33. Ronald Klein rounding out your top 20. Position 21, Rob Haynes. Position 22, Freeman Kelly. Brian Rainville out there in the back, along with our sponsor, Richard Brose in the number 14. Frederick Hofstetter, number 11, position 27. Number 3, Lee Ryerson Jr. opting to start from pit row. And last man on the grid, the last 2 men, Craig Hawkins in the number 53 and Brian Douglas in the number 214, back there in the rear of the field. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, this is Daytona. Big enough to go 3 wide. Are they brave enough to take it 4 wide? Hopefully that will wait until about the last 15 or 20 laps. Definitely want to see some green flag racing out here tonight in race 2 of Daytona in Friday Night Flights. Big shout out to All Pro Broadcasting and Michael D'Amico, man with the camera tonight. GW Graphics, our replay sponsor, and our grid sponsor, PAD, People Against Distracted Driving. You can find more information about PAD at PADD.org. Around here at KMA and APB, we take PAD very seriously. Hope you do too. Pace car is in. Tor and Everett, side by side. On leader's discretion, and there goes Tor off to a fantastic start with the number 68 of Lewis Sparks, tight on the rear end of the number 4 of Tor Helebo, but on the outside lane goes the number 24 of Everett Lane, getting a good push from the number 84 of Lynn McNeese. On to the inside, third car in, we have got the number 88 of Gary Bird out there in the official KMA Racing Chevy Camaro out, third guy in line. Right now, Gary Bird sitting in P5, pushing on the number 68 of Lewis Sparks. Lewis Sparks pushing on our race leader, number 4, Tor Helebo. Inside lane seeming to have the advantage here tonight as we are very early in our race, 1 down, 99 to go. But inside lane being led by Tor and Lewis, doing a very good job. But on that outside lane, here comes the number 24 of Everett Lane, with Fast Lane Racing getting a big boost from the number 84 of Lynn McNeese with the number 40 of Greg McClendon. Third car in line on that outside lane. Everett Lane starting to make a go, but there goes the number 68 of Lewis Sparks up into that middle lane. Lewis Sparks dumping the number 4 of Tor Halevo. Right now we've got Tor Halevo and Lewis Sparks side by side for positions 1 and 2, tighter than a hair and a biscuit right there, being followed by the number 88 of Gary Burt and the number 24 of Everett Lane. Number 68, Lewis Sparks with a slight edge. But Gary Burt pushing very hard on Tor. Not quite able to get Tor past on the inside, and there goes Gary giving a little bit more, and Tor does indeed get ahead of Lewis Sparks just by nose, now up to a car length. Tor free and clear. Here comes the number 68 fighting back on that outside. I tell you what, fellas, number 24, Everett Lane, always a top runner here, representing Fast Lane Racing, representing League KMA. Great driver up there tonight. And Everett Lane is on radio comms with Fred Hofstetter. Right now, Fred way back there in the back, but surely he will get his way up to the front. Tor Halevo and Lewis Sparks side by side. Gary Burt and Everett Lane sitting there, being very, very patient here early on, knowing they have still got a lot of room, a lot of time. They've got all night to get it done. They're on lap 4 of 100. Gary Burt seemingly getting a little bit restless right there, having to back off of Tor, and that will allow the inside lane to open up for 68 Lewis Sparks. Lewis Sparks dropping down in front of the number 4 Tor Halevo. Now Lewis Sparks side by side with Everett Lane. No position change for the number 84 of Lynn McNeese. Seemingly very content just to be in that second spot up on that outside lane. Lynn McNeese exercising great patience here early on. Inside lane being led by Lewis Sparks and Tor Halevo. Lap 5 of 100 in the books. Great start, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout out to the fans out there rooting on their favorite drivers. Go ahead and type it up, chat it up, talk it up. Tell me who you think is going to win race 2 here at Daytona in the Friday Night Flights series. Dropping back 4 spots on that middle lane. Going to take a look at Edward Bray. Edward Bray in the number 68. Right now, Edward Bray staying clean off of the rear end of the number 40 of Greg McClendon, knowing he doesn't want to get caught up into that. He wants to have plenty of room. Edward Bray, though, whether he wants to or not, he is working his way through this pack. Edward Bray right now stuck in this middle lane. If he wants to drop his momentum, he's going to have to get up there on that third lane, and he's going to have to fall to the back. But right now, watching Edward Bray keep about a car and a half length distance off of his good friend, the number 40, Greg McClendon. Edward Bray tightening up a little bit. Got caught into that draft right there, got sucked right up onto the rear end of Greg McClendon. Right now down to about a half a car length. Edward Bray backing it down just a little bit more, saying he does not want to get too tight up into that quite just yet. Taking a look to his right, we've got the number 73 of Justin Anderson. Now, Justin Anderson pulling off a great, I believe, third place finish in our Tuesday night series. I might be wrong about that, but Justin Anderson always doing a great job out here tonight, representing KMA Racing as well as the league, representing his own thing, choosing to be up there and doing his own thing with a couple of his own personal buddies. Big shout out to the number 73, Justin Anderson, working his way up through the pack right now, holding steady. Fourth car on the inside in position 7. In his rearview mirror, looking at the number 18 of Steve Dutz driving the Red Bull. Steve Dutz, very aggressive racer here with KMA Racing, but in order to win, you've got to be aggressive. And Daytona will lay down for no driver. If you want it, you've not only got to want it, you got to believe it, you got to dream it, you got to do it. And Steve Dutz, he's a dreamer, he's a doer, he's a getter-doner. Right now, Steve Dutz giving a little bit of love to the rear end of the 73 of Justin Anderson here on lap 8. What a great start to tonight's race. Jumping back up to the front of the pack, Everett Lane, Lewis Sparks. Not a whole lot of activity up here in the front, folks. Everybody right now holding steady, and that is indeed the way to do it here at Daytona. Something we have got to be very careful about with Daytona. Looking at Everett Lane, keeping a very wide berth of distance off of the number 68 down on the inside lane. If Everett Lane does feel a little bit supercharged and he starts getting that side draft going on with the number 68 of Lewis Sparks, you can't side draft here very carefully. You know, you get down there side draft and you do a little bit of a door banging, door slamming, and you end up pushing that inside lane down onto that yellow line. And once those tires grab this yellow line at Daytona on the corners, well, pretty much that's going to be all she wrote, and you're going for a spin. Right now, Everett Lane giving a very wide berth to the number 68 of Lewis Sparks. All drivers out here doing a very good job out here tonight on lap 10, 10 down, 90 to go. Great engine sounds out here at Daytona. Great camera work by the broadcaster. Everett Lane getting a recharge, being pushed on by the number 84 of Len McNeese and the number 40 of Greg McClendon. Everett is clear of that inside lane just about, not quite, thought he was, I was wrong. Everett Lane very content to stay up in that middle lane right now, racing along with Lewis Sparks in the number 68. No cautions yet, but we've already had 4 lead changes. I expect a high count of the lead changes tonight, and I expect a low caution count. Right now, everybody just following right along in line, doing a very good job out here tonight. While these drivers are doing so well, ladies and gentlemen, want to make sure I get a plug in for Domino's TYJ on Wednesdays and Thursdays, dropping back to Judd Danielson in the number 85. Judd Danielson right now in position 13. And you can check Judd Danielson out in action on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Domino's TYJ live broadcast by All Pro Broadcasting, working with Domino's. Big shout out to, I believe it was Doug Turner, but don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I might be wrong. But nonetheless, recent pizza winner out there in the Domino's TYJ series on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I tell you what, here at KMA, APB, and with Judd Danielson, we're all about the pizza. We got Richie B, we've got Blaze Pizza, we've got Domino's Pizza. What more could you want, race fans? Pizza and 200 miles per hour. Big shout out to the number 85 of Judd Danielson. Right now in position 13, coming up onto the rear end of the 004 Skittles, driven by Michael Johnson. Now a little bit of fact about Michael Johnson, runs his own little team over there called AAA Motorsports, but he is a brother to KMA. He runs with KMA as well as Max Velocity on a regular basis. Michael Johnson, just an all-around good guy, big-time supporter of PAD, People Against Distracted Driving. If we have a chance, we're going to get an interview in with the 004 of Michael Johnson and see what he says about PAD. Michael Johnson coming up onto the rear end of our Tuesday night sponsor, Jason Russo, in the number 32 Pro Automotive Camaro. Jason Russo onto the rear end of his teammate, the number 66 of Edward Bray. Right now, Jason Russo in position 10, Edward Bray in position 8, holding steady, and that is what these guys have got to do out here tonight. We are on lap 15. We are off to a great race. We are already about 1/6 of the way done. No cautions, 5 lead changes. Great job. Great job to all drivers. Great job out there to the sponsors. Great job to All Pro Broadcasting. Going to be a great night here in race 2 of 20 in the Friday Night Flights. Brought to you by Contact with the number 4 of Tour. And that's going to bring it out, ladies and gentlemen. That will bring out our very first caution of the evening. Our cameras were live on that. But we're going to back that up, take a good look at that on our All Pro Broadcasting replay as we are watching the number 84 of Len McNeese, looking like he just lost a little bit of control in that Western auto, comes down, bumps into the number 4 on that inside lane, driving Tor Helebo off track, back up into the track. But at the same time that was going on, folks, we also saw the number 40, Greg McClendon, which was right behind Lynn McNeese. When Greg saw that happening, folks, Greg bobbled just a little bit and came down across the nose of the number 88 of Gary Burt. All righty, folks, I told you there would be one big one. And that, well, it could have been a lot worse out here, but unfortunately a lot of drivers caught up in this early caution out here. Unfortunate break for Lynn McNeese, getting a little bit of wiggly squiggly right there, coming down across the nose of the number 4 of Tor Helebo, bringing out our first caution of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunate break for Tor Helebo down there minding his own business, but that is the way the cookie crumbles here at Daytona. This is big track racing. Keeping an eye on our race leaders, Everett Lane, Lewis Sparks, opting to head on into pit row underneath our first caution of the evening here at Daytona. Soon as Lewis Sparks is done with his first pit stop here underneath our first caution of the evening, we're going to get Lewis up here in the booth with us, and we're going to get Everett Lane up in the booth with us as well. I am hoping you got to do a check on those radio comms. How about it, Lewis Sparks? Have you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, 10-4, I got you.
Alrighty, copy. You're up there in that big position 1, up there working with your good buddy, Tor Helebo. Unfortunate break for Tor right there as he got caught up in the first caution of the evening. But talk to me about your race and who you're out here representing.
Not really representing anybody, just kind of me and Tor decided to run it together and just always enjoy the KMA races and always put on a good show. And yeah, it sucks he got taken out there. I'm probably going to go on back and see if we can't get him some of those laps back maybe.
All righty, copy that. A big shout out to you doing a very good job, and we're going to be rooting you and Tor on. But great job right now, looking great out there in that 3M Camaro. Good luck to you there, Lewis.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
How about it, Everett Lane? Have you got a copy?
Sure do, Scott. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Having a good old time up here watching you turning these green flag laps. Fortunately, you were not a victim of our first caution out here. Talk to me about what's going on out here tonight.
Well, the 24 Chevy Camaro is running really good tonight. Or should I say today? It's daytime out here today. And Daytona is a place I really love to run here. And let's see what happens here in the next few laps. Try to keep the nose clean and make it to the end.
All righty, copy that. Now, what are the secrets out here to running 83 more laps of green flag racing out here at Daytona? Talk to me about what the secret of Daytona is.
Well, the secret is try to, keep those, if you're in the high line, those left-hand tires, keep them on that first tire mark down there. You don't want to pressure the guy too low to you because that usually ends up in a trouble. So, run that high groove and keep it smooth and hope the guys behind you have some fun and stay in line and keep the noses clean.
All righty, copy that. Well, good luck to you, and I see you got Fred Hofstetter down there on your radio channel. So good luck to you and Fred down there, Everett.
Oh, thank you there, big guy. We'll keep it clean tonight.
And that was Everett F. Lane. Now, you may remember Everett a couple of Saturdays ago. He was sponsoring up the Michael D'Amico Birthday Bash Dega Dash. So Everett Lane with Fast Lane Racing out here. One of the good guys. He is fast. He is quick. He's an honorable man. Right now, Everett Lane will be restarting in that third position. We're going to look at Justin Anderson up there on the front line. Edward Bray should be restarting there in second position. Right now, these drivers can duck back into pit row. So right now, hypothetically, if Edward Bray did not want to be up here in second place, all he's got to do is take a drive through down there through pit row, and that will cycle him to the end of the field. Edward Bray opting not to do that, but a lot of drivers will do that. And what that is based upon, folks, is whether or not you think the next caution is going to happen in the front or in the middle or in the back. No one hopes for a caution, but on these speedways, it is bound to happen. So right now, Edward Bray thinking, I'm up here in front, and I'm going to hang on to this front spot, not go back into pit row. Going to hope for no more cautions. Justin Anderson, Edward Bray, doing our first restart of the night, side by side. Everett Lane, Steve Dutz, third and fourth. Greg McClendon and Ivan Garcia, fifth and sixth. Our sponsor, Richard Brogan, is going to be restarting in position 7. Big shout out to my good friend, Richie B. A few basic rules here at KMA Racing. All starts and restarts are done on leader's discretion. Now, what that means is once that pace car goes in, the drivers can go anytime that pace car does go in. Some opt to wait until the actual green dot appears up there. Other drivers, as soon as that pace car goes in, they are gone and gone. Keeping our cameras locked and loaded on the number 73 of Justin Anderson in our first restart of the night here at Daytona. Edward Bray, outside position. Justin Anderson, inside position. Number 18, Steve Boots, already closing up that hole with the number 66 on that outside lane. Greg McClendon tight on the number 24 of Everett Lane. They're tightening it up. And away we get ready to go. And there goes the number 73 of Justin Anderson, getting a big boost from the number 24 of Everett Lane. Not so much the great start there on the outside lane, as Steve Dutz did get into the rear end of Edward Bray on that outside lane, slowing him down just a hair, trying to get it back up to speed. And there goes Greg McClendon and Everett Lane, both up to the middle lane. Everett Lane changes his mind back down to the inside. Everett Lane pushing the number 73 just about out of his way. Just about another wreck right there early on. A little bit of aggressive driving right there on lap 19. There goes Everett. There goes Richie B. Contact with the number 73. Number 73 loose. Number 73 belonging to Justin Anderson. Loose as Greg McClendon splits them 3 wide. Almost near disaster there for the 73 of Justin Anderson. Number 76, Ronald Klein off track. 76, Ronald Klein off track here on lap 20. But we still are green flag. Ronald Klein getting it a little bit loosey-goosey, going for a ride. But we are still under green flag up in the front with our leaders. Everett Lane out there in the front on the inside lane being led by Everett Lane. Richie B to the front of the line. And there goes Richie B down to the inside. Now, I'll tell you what, that would have been real cool if Richie B Pizza was pulling the number 40 Greg McClendon Pizza around this track. Not going to happen, though, as Richie B goes down to the inside lane, getting in front of the number 24 of Everett Lane, Fast Lane Racing. But on that outside, here comes Pizza Guy number 2. Here comes the number 40, Pizza Guy on the outside, side by side with my other Pizza Guy, Richard Brose. Pizza up in the front all around here on lap 21. We have had 1 caution, 9 lead changes so far. Richard Brose, Greg McClendon side by side for positions 1 and 2, going down that backstretch at 198 miles per hour, pulling down lap times of 46.5 here at Daytona. Richie B getting a big shove from Everett Lane on that inside. Number 68, Lewis Sparks, third in line on the inside. On the outside, Greg McClendon and the number 73 of Justin Anderson. Number 66, Reaper, third in line on the outside. I'll tell you what, folks, these drivers up here looking a little bit loosey-goosey. We're going to be a factor whether these guys realize it out here or not. Right now, Richie B down onto that inside lane, and if I know my good friend Richie B, he will not stray away from that inside lane. Inside lane is the place to be right now, but if Richie does get out of that inside lane, he'll be up in that high lane. Richie B, not a middleman, He is either a low line or a high line racer. Richie B loving that three-wide action. Right now, Richie B side by side with Greg McClendon. Pizza to the left, pizza to the right, pizza up in front here on lap 23 of 100. Everett Lane, Justin Anderson positions third and fourth. And I tell you what, folks, once they get done here tonight, they're going to be awful hungry. I bet they're going to go to their old ladies and say, hey, fix me a pizza. Been staring at pizza for the last 90 minutes. Right now, Everett Lane tucked onto the rear end of the Richie B's number 14 Camaro. Greg McClendon showing skill, doing a great job. Richard Brose up there in front with a slight edge on the number 40 of Greg McClendon. Everett Lane tucked and locked on to his good friend Richard Brose here on lap 24. Greg McClendon getting a slight bump from Everett Lane. Three wide with 73 and 68. That will send the number 40, Greg McClendon, falling backwards. A little bit of bumping going on up there in the front. Dropping to the middle of the pack with the number 85 of Judd Danielson in the three-wide position as the number 40 still dropping, but 85 of Judd Danielson doing a very great job. Judd Danielson up onto the rear end of the number 72 of Ivan Garcia. Side by side with Steve Dutzen, the number 18. Number 85, Judd Danielson, slowly working his way up to the front of the pack, but it does appear actually that the number 25 of Judd Danielson is one lap down. Judd Danielson is in position 25, obviously getting caught up in that very first caution. But right now, Judd Danielson is the first driver one lap down. Now what this means, folks, he can get his lap back one of three ways. One, he can pass these 9 drivers in front of him, get all the way around the track, getting the lap back the hard way, coming back up onto the lead in. Once he passes Richard Brose or Everett Lane, he will be on the lead lap, but he will be at the tail end of the lead lap, being pushed by the leaders. That is the hard way to get your lap back here at Daytona. The easy way is if the caution flies behind the first car a lap down. That's going to freeze the field. If the top 8 drivers go into pit row, he will be in front of the pack, one lap down. He cannot pit. He has to stay out, and he will get the free pass and be put back onto the tail end of the lead lap. That's the other way to do it. The third way is just plain out be the lucky dog. He is first driver, one lap down. If that caution does fly and his car remains clean, no contact, no dents, no scratches, he's first in line, he will get the lucky dog. Those are the only 3 ways that these drivers will get their lap back. So right now, number 85 being very careful as he is riding up onto the rear end of the number 72 of Ivan Garcia. Getting back up front, checking in with guys up in front, Richard Brose, Everett Lane, just kind of hanging out, trading it lap for lap. Richard Brose leading the last lap. Everett Lane hoping to lead lap 28. Getting ready to find out and see, but he has got to have the number 73 get up on him tight. 73 starting to give a little bit of power, making them hamsters go, 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 and not quite good enough as Richard Brose will lead lap 28. But right now, Everett Lane getting a big push from the number 73, Justin Anderson. Justin Anderson having to start cooling that engine, having to drift off to the right side, getting a little bit of air up there into that number 73, then ducking back on full throttle. As we see Justin just tipping off the right side of the rear end of Everett. He's really not intoxicated. He really knows what he's doing. Right there, ladies and gentlemen, what he has got to do, he has got to open up that grill. He has got to get some clean air. Taking a look at his side with the number 68 of Lewis Sparks. We're looking at 68 tucked up loud and proud onto the rear end of the number 14 of Richie B. Pretty soon that engine is going to get hot. Right there looking at the number 68, Lewis Sparks having to back off. Again, needing some air. So two completely different ways of keeping these engines cool. Justin Anderson opting to slide off the bumper, getting that nose halfway off that rear end of Everett. The number 68, Lewis Sparks, opting to put a little bit of space between him and the gentleman he is pushing, which is Richie B. Two different ways of achieving the same effect, but either way it goes, great racing out here tonight. Lap 29, almost 1/3 of the way, only one caution. Great job, Pizza Guy out there in front. I tell you what, folks, it always does me a real proud deal when one of my sponsors is out here in the front. Right now, Richard Brose in second place. Everett did lead lap 29. Everett Lane adding one more notch onto that lead change, taking that lead change up to 11. Everett Lane getting a big boost from 73. Justin Anderson keeping plenty of room between him and that inside lane. Everett Lane side by side with Richard Brose. Great racing here on lap 31. Everett Lane, Richard Brose, Justin Anderson, number 68, Lewis Sparks. Edward Bray sitting back in position 5. Taking a look at somebody we have not yet looked at. Going to look at Brian Rainville. Brian Rainville in the number 60. Right now sitting in position 8. Now, Brian is a good friend of mine out here tonight representing his home league, Premier Race Network. I'll tell you what, those guys, they've been out here for about 10 or 11 years. Great guys over at Premier Race Network. I don't know a lot of them, but I do know Brian Rainville, and stand-up guy, this Mr. Brian Rainville. Right now looking very strong, position 8 here on lap 32. Brian Rainville starting to advance his position. He is side by side with my good friend Ivan Garcia. Getting past Ivan Garcia, actually working his way up to the number 84 of Lynn McNeese. Lynn McNeese holding solid. Third car on the inside lane. Lynn McNeese in position 7. Side by side with Edward Bray here on lap 32 in race 2 of 20 in the Friday Night Flights, brought to you by KMA Racing. I tell you what, folks, I am thoroughly impressed out here. Go and talk to me out on that All-Pro Broadcasting chat. Big shout out to Michelle McMaster Eisenhower. Michelle is a big fan of PAD, actually involved with PAD in their grief counseling department. So I tell you what, KMA, Michelle, PAD, APB, great guys, great people, great women, great fans, great racing, great pizza. Great sponsors out here. Everybody doing a real good job. Having a great time out here on Friday night. Now next week, these drivers in the Friday Night Series will be going to Michigan. This Friday Night Series we're offering it as a big track series. And next week, we're going to head down there to Michigan for some great 3-wide big track action. Make sure you check us out on Friday. Coming up on Monday, we have got race 11 of 12 in our Monday Night Mania Series, brought to you by our current race leader, Richie B. We're talking a lot about Richie B tonight, but Monday, it is going to be it's going to be something weird. I'll tell you what, we are heading out there for Watkins Glen. Right now, tonight, guys, all these drivers are doing, they are turning left. But come Monday, they're going to be turning right, they're going to be turning left, they're going to be turning right, they're going to be braking, they're going to be downshifting, they're going to be down into second gear come Monday as we do a road course at Watkins Glen. There's going to be some very great racing out there Monday at Watkins Glen. Be sure to check us out on Tuesday as well for race 2 of 12 in our TNT Truck Series. And if I am correct, I do believe we may be going to Texas, but do not quote me on that. I have posted up that information on Facebook. Up in the front, Everett Lane, down to the inside lane. Richie B getting loose. Richie B getting into the Edward Bray. Edward Bray turning. That will bring out our caution. Ladies and gentlemen, cameras were locked and loaded on that. We're going to back that up. We're going to back that up, and we're going to take a look at this, and I'm going to walk you right through this. As Everett Lane did change lanes, I think that might have spooked the number 14 of Richie B. Richie B checking up just a little bit. Nobody coming into contact with Richie B, but Richie B hitting that apron as Richie B compensated back up to the right side. Unfortunately, coming into contact with the number 66 of Edward Bray. Edward Bray up into the wall. Nothing he could do about it, coming down across the nose of the number 72 of Ivan Garcia, and Ivan Garcia coming across the nose of the number 85 of Judd Danielson, and into the number 60 of Brian Rainville. Unfortunate break for Edward Bray right there, but Richard Brose in the number 14 tonight, unfortunately bringing out our second caution of the night. That will bring out our second caution of the night. Gonna watch as our race leader Everett Lane does pull into pit row for a under caution pit stop. Let's take a look and see if Everett Lane takes lefts, rights, if he takes both, if he jumps out and grabs a chili dog. Under caution here on lap 37, but been a very good race so far. Everett Lane pulling out of pit row. Justin Anderson pulling out as well as Richie B. Always like to see some green flag pit stops here at Daytona. I'm sure they are going to come right there. And oftentimes, you know, feel a little bit bad there for Richie B. He is a great guy, great friend of mine, but he did break just a little bit loose. But he is back out here on track. So good job with Richie B. Gives me a chance to talk to my very good friend, Richie B. How about it, Richie B? Have you got a copy, sir? All righty, I did want to give you a shout and a big thumbs up and a thank you for your sponsorship, not only on Mondays, but being a big sponsor here tonight on our Friday Big Track Series. You got a little bit of loose out there. I know you know that. No worries. I'm glad to see you're back out here alive. What are your thoughts for the remainder of the night, though?
Yeah, the car's running really well tonight. Getting a good push from Lewis, and Everett and I were battling in front for a lot of laps, and when he finally came down, it happened to come down right in the corner, so I kind of tapped him a little bit, got a little loose in the apron, and was able to save it, but we had to check up, and I think we caused that wreck in the back, so I apologize, but I am going to tell everybody this. I'm going to continue to drive aggressive, but safe. Does that make sense?
Copy that, and I would expect no less of you, Richie B. And I also want to give you a big shout out for helping me out on that personal level. We're not going to go into detail, but I do want to publicly thank you. Tell us real quick about Richie B's Pizza.
Well, we're still in Dothan, Alabama. We haven't moved yet. Usually I get bored after I become successful and like to do it in another town, but Dothan has kept me the second time around, and I'm just thankful to be able to be as successful as I am, and great pizza, Philly cheesesteaks, pastrami, eggplant parm, chicken cutlets, meatball sandwiches, homemade, great Sicilian pizza when I make it, baked ziti, Coney Island hot dogs when I make them with the Coney Island chili, chopped onions, no mustard. But yeah, it's good. Everybody likes it. I'm thankful.
I tell you what, I think when we go to commercial break here in about 12 laps, I'm going to go get me a pizza. I tell you what. Good luck to you tonight, Richie.
Yeah, thanks, man. Cool, thank you.
And that was Richie Beam, a very good friend. Got time for one more interview. Joining us up in the booth is Rob Haynes. How about it, Rob Haynes?
I got you, Scott. How's things?
Doing very good. You have worked your way up here in the 5th place. You qualified in at 21st. So 21st to 5th right now, not quite at the halfway point. What is on your mind here underneath our second caution of the night on lap 38?
Just some good, clean racing, Scott. Try and get through the remaining 62 laps here with without getting in a mess. I used up my resets there, so I'm down to just drive it, and hope it's a nice clean finish here, and hopefully we can go green for you guys.
Copy that. Now, did I hear you right? You are out of your backup vehicles.
10-4, yeah, both resets used. I got involved there early on both, so things happen, Scott. It's Daytona here, and a lot of tough drivers, and hey, that's plate racing.
You're absolutely right, but I tell you what, you are no stranger to the plate racing. You were the winner of our Sanadega, and here in about 3 weeks, I'm going to stop mentioning that, but I am so proud of you for that, bringing home that Sanadega win for KMA Racing. So I tell you what, let's just pretend this is Sanadega. You get out here, you get up to the front, you keep it up there in the front, work with my sponsor up there, Richie B. You've got some good guys up there. Good luck to you, Rob Haynes.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Thank you, KMA and All Pro. I appreciate everything you guys do.
Rob Haynes in the number 9 tonight. Nationwide is on your side, and I'm glad Rob Haynes is on my side. A little bit of singing there. I surely won't quit my day job. What do you think, Michelle? All righty, getting ready to go back into some green flag racing out there. Big shout out to our fans out there. Talk to me on that All-Pro Broadcasting chat. If you've got a favorite driver you'd like to hear interviewed, let me know and I'll do what I can, but hopefully there won't be no interviews because we only do an interview when we're under caution. 2 cautions is enough for my taste out here. We are getting ready to take lap 40 here in race 2 of 20. Everett Lane, Richie B, Lewis Sparks, Rob Haynes, Steve Dutz, Donald Stewart, rounding out our top 6. Now you heard it first here on the KMA ATV channel. Richie B swears he's going to be clean, he's going to be green, but he is going to be mean. He's going to be like a Sicilian pizza. He's going to be hot. He's going to be on top. Richie B on that outside lane, side by side with Mr. Fast Lane Racing himself, and away we go. Boogity boogity boys, back to some green flag racing as number 68 of Lewis Sparks all over the rear end of Everett F. Lane, side by side with Richard Brose and Rob Haynes. Steve Dukes coming up that inside lane in position 3, driving that Red Bull Toyota. And right now, Steve Dukes is going to get into Red Bull mode, taking a little bit of an edge out there on that outside lane, being led by Richie B. Outside lane actually starting to fall back. Front 3 drivers on that inside lane, tighter than a hair in a biscuit. There it is. I know you've been waiting for it, fans. Tighter than a hair in a biscuit as the inside lane, rocking and rolling, 4 strong. Justin Anderson going up into that outside lane, a little confused by that. I think I would have stayed tucked up underneath the rear end of the number 18. But Justin Anderson opting for that outside lane, going to get the big shove from Richie B. But he has got a watch on his inside. Here comes my good friend Len McNeese. You know him as Len McNeese. I call him Snoopy right now. Snoopy. Len McNeese getting tucked up onto the rear end of the number 18. Steve Dutz on that outside lane. There goes Justin Anderson. Maybe that was a good decision for Justin Anderson. Jumping out there because now Justin Anderson going to the front, being pushed hard by Richard Brose in the number 14. Justin Anderson side by side with Steve Dutz, losing a little bit of a momentum right there. Richie B's got to get back onto the rear end of Justin, make him go forward. It takes 2 to tango, but I tell you what, 3 can make it rock and roll on that outside lane. We're on that 42 of 100. 2 cautions, 13 lead changes. One of our better races out here tonight, race fans. Let's get up behind these drivers and give them a big hoorah. Everett Lane, side by side with the number 73 of Justin Anderson. Lewis Sparks, side by side with Richie B for positions 3 and 4. Everett Lane and Justin Anderson right now dominating race 2 out here at Daytona. Doing a very great job. All these drivers out here doing a very great job. Not quite to that halfway point. Big shout out there to Curtis Young out there chatting it up with our All-Pro Broadcasting Race Chat fans. Side-by-side racing for position 1 and 2. Rob Haynes all over the rear end of Everett Lane. Rob Haynes, drivers have gotten mixed up on the numbers. The number 68 actually is Lewis Sparks. Rob Haynes is the number 9. Usually Rob Haynes is the number 68. Not getting his normal number tonight. A little bit of confusion part on my part right there, but the number 68 of Lewis Sparks. Position 3, second car down on that inside lane, staying very dedicated to the rear end of Everett Fast Lane Racing. One of the great things here at All Pro Broadcasting are the things this man can do with the sound and the camera. Let's take a minute to listen to the great sound action brought to you by All Pro Broadcasting of these Crank It Up cams. Great sounds out there brought to you by All Pro Broadcasting. I tell you what, there's no finer sound than the horsepower of these Xfinity class cars, other than when you got a little bit of Metallica there blasting in the background through your headset. 200 miles per hour and Metallica and pizza on a Friday night. What more can you ask for, race fans? Cameras locked and loaded on our race leaders. Everett Lane, Justin Anderson, Lewis Sparks, Richard Brose. Richard Brose pushing Justin Anderson everything he can to that outside lane. They're on lap 45, and Everett and Justin racing each other clean, green, not so mean, knowing they've got to work together. Great teamwork out here tonight by this entire field. We have got 20 drivers out here on our lead lap. Ronald Klein, 1 lap down. Greg McClendon, 2 laps down. Ed Hewitt, 2 laps down. Way in the back all by himself. The cameras are locked and loaded up here on our race leaders. 20 drivers still on the lead lap as we are on lap 46 of 100. Justin Anderson, plenty of room to come down, and there goes Justin Anderson coming down. I kind of thought he would. I kind of thought he should, and he did. The decision right there by the number 73 of Justin Anderson. Going to open up Richie B on that outside lane. Richie B going to get a big shove from the number 9. Number 9 of Rob Haynes. Richie B side by side with Justin Anderson here on lap 47. Jumping back a couple of spots to the number 74 of Mark Bose. Mark Bose qualifying up at 11th, right now in position 6. Have not looked at the Tide Ford Fusion all night, driven by Mark Bose. Mark Bose doing a very good job out here tonight, sitting in position 6 on lap 47. Mark Bose in the number 74 Tide Ford Fusion. Right now riding along in position 6 with Mark Bose. Mark Bose, third position on that inside lane. Staying all over the rear end of the number 9 of Rob Haynes. Rob Haynes doing everything he can in the Exalta to keep that engine cool, but having to back off. And there goes Everett Lane with a lane change. Everett Lane changing lanes up there in front. Give a little bit of another spook to Richard Brose. Now, last time that happened, Richard Brose did spook just a hair, but he held it together right here. Great driving right there by Richie B, and that was tighter than a hair in a biscuit. I think if these Class B Xfinities had license plates, that license plate would be laying in the middle of the road somewhere. Tight maneuvering, but successfully done by Everett Fast Lane Racing up here in the number 24, leaving this outside lane side by side with Justin Anderson. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it is all about the number 73, Justin Anderson, and the number 24 of Everett Lane. We are on lap 49 at the halfway point. Going to give it just a couple of more laps. I'm smelling some 3 wide. Here we are with 3 wide action for the front. Justin Anderson in the middle, Everett Lane, Richie B taking him 3 wide, and Richie B into the rear. Going to back it up, ladies and gentlemen, but Richie B, unfortunately, involved into that, as it does appear that Richie B did come down and bump into. We're going to back that up, take a very solid look at that. It does appear that Richie B possibly coming down onto the number 73, but we're going to back that up. You know, looking at it, ladies and gentlemen, there was zero contact between Richie B and the number 73 of Justin Anderson. There was zero contact as the number 73 did shoot to the left, but when Justin did shoot to the left, he actually came into contact with the number 68. But I tell you what, folks, no contact between Richie B, but that will bring out our third caution of the night, and we are going to take a quick commercial break at the halfway point. We'll be right back with you, ladies and gentlemen.
Smithley, driver the number 0, JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Getting ready to get back to some green flag racing, and pace car is getting ready to lead these drivers back to green flag racing. We are on lap 53 underneath our third caution, but I'll tell you what, it has been a great race right now. Unfortunately, several drivers have had to pull her in out of their backup vehicles. Jason Russo side by side with Edward Bray representing KMA. Now, we do know that Edward Bray, the number 66, is on his last reset. So if Edward Bray is caught up into one more, he will be done and over with for the night. Not sure of the reset condition on Jason Russo, but Jason Russo, our Tuesday night sponsor, as well as a sponsor in the Friday Night Flight Series, Race 2 of 20. Ladies and gentlemen, at Daytona next week, we are at Michigan. Going to be 18 more great races coming to you live on Friday night, brought to you by All Pro Broadcasting Network. Don't forget to check out padd.org. Now, somebody out there on the All Pro Broadcasting chat said something about bacon, pizza guys on a Friday night. I tell you what, folks, I don't know about you, but I think I'm going to go get me a pizza after tonight's race. Looking at the pizza guys out here, great racing out here. Unfortunately, one pizza guy already out for the, no, Greg McClendon's still in it. He is 2 laps down. And Richard Brose is still in it, 1 lap down. So the pizza is still in the house, folks. Pizza's still in the house. Pace car in. Jason Russo off to a loud start, chasing that proverbial donut. Down drops the number 66 of Edward Bray, getting in line behind the number 32 of Jason Russo. Edward Bray pushing on the number 32 of Jason Russo, and out goes Everett Lane to that outside lane, hoping Lynn McNeese would go with him, but no such luck, as the number 84, Lynn McNeese, opting for that inside lane, as the number 74 of Mark Bose goes up to that outside lane. Everett Lane down to the inside, Everett Lane up to the outside. Not sure where Everett Lane is going to be right now, but Everett Lane is getting some help from the number 74 of Mark Bose, picking up speed on that outside lane. Going to be watching Everett Lane and Mark Bose work their way up past this inside lane, providing that Mark Bose can get tucked up onto the rear end of Everett Lane. He's going to have to do a little bit better job than that, folks. In order to make that outside lane work, you have got to be tighter than a tick on an Ozark coon dog. And right now, the number 74 doing it slowly but surely, but not making that rocket ship approach on that outside lane like he so very well could. Right now, inside lane severely outnumbering that outside lane, 4-2. Looking at Jason Russo, Edward Bray, Lynn McNeese, and the number 31 of Freeman Kelly on that inside lane. Everett Lane slowly working up alongside the number 66 of Edward Bray. But I tell you, folks, he is screaming on his radio, Mark, push me, you have to push me. Mark Bose getting a little bit tighter, must have hurt him side by side with Len McNeese. Mark Bose now finally tucked up onto the number 24 of Everett Lane, starting to make a little bit of progression side by side with Len McNeese. Almost to the rear end of the number 66, side by side with 66 of Edward Bray. Everett Lane almost up to our race leader here, but Mark Bose appearing to give out. And once again, Everett Lane will lose that momentum on that outside lane. Now, folks, we talk about partnership here on these speedways. Right now, we're watching Everett Lane go forward side by side with Edward Bray, almost to the front. But if Mark Bose does not stay in that throttle, he's just going to go right backwards and be back there beside the number 84, Lynn McNeese, one more time. Right now, Mark Bose seemingly getting the message to push that outside lane. Everett Lane side by side with Jason Russo. Jason Russo side by side with Everett Lane here on lap 57. Jason Russo leading lap 57. Jason Russo working with his teammate down on that inside lane, number 66, Reaper. Edward Bray, speaking of the Reaper, big shout out to Over the Top Paints and Designs, the official painter for KMA Racing, and all these great Reaper designs that we're seeing on Edward Bray. They're all put out there by John Hedrick. They're all put out there by Paint Shop. Give them a big thumbs up out there at the Paint Shop on Facebook. Check them out on Facebook, as well as All Pro Broadcasting as well, and KMA Racing right now. Big action up in front as Everett Lane being pushed on by the number 74 Tide Fusion. Getting the nose on Jason Russo on that inside, but not quite. Every time Everett Lane does get up to the side of Jason Russo, it seems that Mark Bowes lets out of it a little bit. Mark Bowes giving a big push this time around here on lap 58, but Everett Lane just cannot quite seem to get around the number 32 Pro Automotive Chevy Camaro. Big shout out to the number 32 Pro Automotive, driven by Jason Russo, sponsor for our Tuesday night TNT Tuesday Night Trucks series. Big sponsor here tonight in the Friday Night Flights. Jason Russo making things happen. Right now, that outside lane is 3 long, being led by Everett. Everett being pushed by Mark Bowes. Mark Bowes getting a little bit of a push from the number 73 of Justin Anderson and the number 31 of Freeman Kelly on that outside lane. 1, 2, 3, 4 strong up on that outside lane. 1, 2, 3, 4 strong on that inside lane. Everett Lane finally getting past the number 32 of Jason Russo, but opting to stay out. Plenty of time to get down. Is he going to get down? He is not going to get down tonight, at least not here on lap 60. Side by side with Jason Russo, fighting to lead lap 61. Side by side action one more time up in the front. I tell you folks, these guys out here tonight doing a great job here at Daytona. Inside lane being dominated by Jason Russo as Jason Russo goes up to the middle lane. Gonna jam up the 24 of Everett Lane just a little bit. Edward Bray must have needed some big air, getting very hot, telling Jason Russo, hey, I got to get some air or I'm going to blow it up. Jason Russo obliging, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen, as the number 73, looking like the number 73 of Justin Anderson. We're going to look at that on our All Pro Broadcasting replay, and no, ladies and gentlemen, I am wrong. That was the number 74 of Mark Bowes. Appears that Mark Bowes possibly coming down and pressuring the number 73 of Justin Anderson. Just a little bit of tag right there on that front headlight, but a little tag is all it takes. Mark Bowes coming down onto the front nose of the number 73 of Justin Anderson, and the number 73 of Justin Anderson down into the number 84 of Lynn McNeese, bringing down our 4th caution of the night. That will bring out our 4th caution of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, they were tighter than a hair in a biscuit right there, trying to get a little bit of 3-wide action. Watching the number 74 just barely tab onto the number 84. Unfortunate break for the number 84 of Lynn McNeese and the number 73 of Justin Anderson. I believe this is our 4th caution of the night, but I tell you what, folks, 4 cautions in 62 laps. That is not a bad night here at Daytona. Keeping an eye on Jason Russo and Everett Lane. We had talked about that pit strategy. Now I'm going to tell you what, folks. These drivers are on about a 30-lap fuel window, give or take. Now what that means right now, looking at Jason Russo deciding if he's going into pit row, and it appears Jason Russo is actually going to stay out. Now what that means for Jason Russo is here in about 7 laps, he can go in for a pit stop and he will be good on fuel load. We did see Everett Lane ducking into pit row, Edward Bray staying out, Donald Stewart staying out. Let's grab our sponsor and see exactly what is on his mind. How about it, Jason Russo? Have you got a copy, sir?
I got you, Scott. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing very good. First of all, a big thank you for the sponsorship on Tuesdays and your joint sponsorship here with Friday Night Flights. We appreciate it, sir.
You're welcome. Appreciate everybody coming out watching, and all the participants for coming out and having fun.
Alrighty, but the question I have on my mind, now we do know we're looking at about a 30-lap fuel load, and we saw you opting not to pit underneath our fourth caution. Edward Bray did not pit. Donald Stewart did not pit. But Everett Lane, I believe he did pit. So different strategies. What is on your mind with staying out right now on lap 63?
I believe I got enough of my KMA teammates up here to stay out, go in around 75 if we can make it that far, and all pit together and come out and get a top 5 out of this.
Alrighty, copy that. And I'll tell you what, we are all about the teamwork here at KMA Racing. And you have got Edward Bray, you have got Donald Stewart. You got some good friends back there with Everett and Michael. Going to be looking for those green flag pit stops, hopefully about lap 75 with you. Talk to me real quick about Pro Automotive.
Pro Automotive, we're located in Dudley, Massachusetts. You can check us out on Facebook at Facebook/ProAutomotiveMA or www.proautomotivema.com.
Alrighty, copy that. I check you out an awful lot. We see those links that you shared. You shared one today about the dangers of distracted driving, and I want to thank you, sir, for your involvement with PAD, People Against Distracted Driving, and we'll continue to share those links up into Facebook. Pro Automotive giving us all a lot of helpful tips out there on Facebook. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Scott.
Big shout out to Jason Russo. Got time for one more quick interview. How about it, Donald Stewart? You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you, sir.
All right, copy that. We were up there talking to your teammate, Jason Russo. We see Edward Bray up there talking about some early pit strategy coming up here, possibly in 10 laps. Are you down with that?
Yeah, all three of us are on the same page. I got a little bit more fuel than they do, but I'm going to go ahead and go in with them when our pit window comes up in 70-ish range.
All righty, copy that. Anybody you'd like to give a big shout out to, Mr. Donald Stewart?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to all the fans that are watching, and to you up there in the broadcast booth, and to all my teammates out here, and just for some good, clean racing tonight.
All righty, copy that, and good luck to you and the guys over there at KMA on their possible early pit stop strategy. We'll be keeping cameras on it.
Simple as that.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, fans out there, big shout out to the fans, big shout out to Michelle, big shout out to Rednecks out there. One more shout out to my very special friend, Wally Tierheimer. I see Wally Tierheimer's mom, Tierheimer. Hi, Martha, how you doing? Wally couldn't be here tonight, folks. I believe he is having a birthday today, so hopefully he's not out on this track tonight. Hopefully he is there with his family. Big shout out and a big KMA APB happy birthday shout out to Wally Tierheimer. I tell you what, Martha Tierheimer, type it up into that chat box. Let me hear you tell me how old he is. I believe he's like 97, 98. I don't know. Either way it goes, Wally Tierheimer, very good friend of mine, celebrating a big birthday today. Happy birthday to Wally Tierheimer. I'd sing happy birthday to you, but you probably kicked me out of the booth up here. And we want to finish this night off on a good note. But nonetheless, happy birthday to Wally Tierheimer. Getting ready to get back to some racing here on lap 65. 4 cautions, 20 lead changes. Wow, I tell you what, 20 lead changes out here tonight. A lot of action out here. Only 4 cautions, doing a great job. Still looking for those green flag pit stops. They are hard to come by sometimes, but not for lack of effort. Now, I did remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that Edward Bray on his last backup vehicle tonight. Edward Bray has got to be extremely, extremely careful. But right now, he is in good company with the number 32 of Jason Russo and the number 78 of Donald Stewart. KMA 1-2-3 out here on lap 65. Let's see what the boys from KMA Racing, if they can get her done tonight. Starts and restarts always done on leader's discretion. Once that pace car goes in, Jason Russo can hit that loud pedal And there goes pace car, and there goes Jason out of that gate, trying to catch down that runaway donut here on lap 66. Edward Bray down to the inside in front of the number 78 of Donald Stewart. But on the outside, here comes Everett, fast lane racing himself, but having zero help out there on that outside lane, actually tearing away from the pack. But Everett Lane all by himself, keeping pace, trying to get a little bit of help from somebody, but nobody within earshot on that outside lane. Everett Lane stuck high and dry, 3 long on the inside. 1 is the loneliest number up there on the outside. Everett Lane starting to drop back, needs to drop in. Everett Lane does drop in behind number 78 of Donald Stewart. And now Everett Lane back in line with his friend Tor. Not on the same radio channel, unfortunately, but Tor going to give some love to Everett. Everett going to the outside. There goes Tor to the outside. Everett and Tor tearing up that outside lane. Here, close contact with Donald Stewart. Careful, guys. Easy, easy. Tight racing with Donald Stewart and Tor Halevo here on lap 67. Everett Lane side by side with Pro Automotive. Jason Russo up in front. Everett Lane going for broke, wanting to lead lap 68, but Jason Russo fighting back on that inside lane, being pushed on by Edward Bray. Only 5 drivers in this front pack right now. Jason Russo, Everett Lane side by side. Edward Bray, Tor Halevo side by side positions 2, 3, and 4. And Donald Stewart sitting in position 5. Cycling on back a couple of spots, we have got Craig Hawkins in position 6, side by side with Ivan Garcia in the number 72. Ivan Garcia getting a big push from the number 84 of Lynn McNeese. Ivan Garcia, recent surprise winner in the Ladies' Night Out. I know Michelle McMaster Eisenhower remembers that race. That was her race. Big shout out to Michelle McMaster Eisenhower. Watching Ladies' Night Out winner Ivan Garcia right now in the Mickey D's Ford Fusion. Ivan Garcia qualifying up at 13th. Right now in position 6 with 31 laps to go. Jason Russo out there in front being pushed on by Edward Bray side by side with Everett and Tor. Positions 1, 2, 3, 4, tearing up this Daytona track here. Coming to 30 to go. We are within our pit window of fuel, ladies and gentlemen. Now what that means is right now, any driver that goes into pit row, they will have enough fuel to make her to the home stretch. Jason Russo, Edward Bray, Donald Stewart looking at green flag pit stops right at about lap 75. That is our goal tonight. Once these drivers do get into green flag pit stops, that is going to separate this pack, and that is going to separate the men from the boys. Outside lane would be led by Everett, falling apart. Tor very tight to the quarter panel of the number 78. Adeline being driven by Donald Stewart. Everett Lane charging back on that outside lane, side by side with the number 66, side by side coming up to the number 32 of Jason Russo. Tor Halevo in the number 4, not quite pushing on Everett as hard as Edward is pushing on Jason, and that is why that outside lane cannot get past that inside lane. Jason Russo, Edward Bray down on that inside lane, dominating it, doing everything they can. Right now in radio comms with Donald Stewart, discussing their pit row strategy. Pit row strategy, always a great thing here at these super speedways. Now remember, another trick out here, ladies and gentlemen, is getting these super powered cars down from 198 miles per hour down to 60 miles per hour. Go in too fast on pit row, and they're going to hold you down for 15 seconds. Go out too fast, they're going to blow that whistle, throw that flag at you. They're going to say, hey, come on back in here to pit row. You came out too fast. We're going to pull you back in. We're going to park it for 15 seconds. And under that extreme, ladies and gentlemen, that will put you one lap down. No ifs, ands, or buts. Keeping cameras focused up on our race leader, Jason Russo, Everett Lane, Edward Bray, Tor Helebo, tight racing. We have got the number 53 of Craig Hawkins now wanting a piece of this top 5 action. Coming up on the lap traffic of the number 31 of Freeman Kelly. Actually, he was not a lap traffic vehicle until just now, and he does fall a lap down big time, 3 wide with lap traffic of Ronald Klein and Greg McClendon. Fortunately, Ronald Klein and Greg McClendon yielding up high side to these race leaders, as that is the rule. Slower traffic always yield to the right. The preferred lane on these speedways for faster traffic is the bottom 2. Always a great idea for the slower traffic to go up high, and that is what we did see right there. Tor Helebo into the rear end of Everett Lane, giving him a big boost past the number 32 of Jason Russo. Everett Lane down to the inside in front of the number 32 of Jason Russo, abandoning Tor Helebo and Craig Hawkins on that outside, but Everett back up. I guess he must have had a bit of a guilty conscience right there. He went down, thought about it, he went back up. Everett Lane getting down tonight, Everett Lane getting up tonight here on lap 74. We should be looking at some green flag pit stops very soon. Jason Russo out there in the front. And we've got word that Jason Russo and Edward Bray will be going into pit row. Jason Russo, Edward Bray down on that inside lane, going into pit row this time by. Good to see some green flag pit stops here with Jason Russo, Edward Bray here on lap 74. Jason Russo leading Edward Bray and Donald Stewart into pit row here on lap 74. Great pit stop action right there by Jason Russo. Keeping an eye on Jason Russo in pit row. Will he take 2? Will he take 4? What will Jason Russo do in pit row? Big shout out to Martha Tierheimer telling me Wally's age. I had asked and she did deliver. Thank you, Martha. Wally is 54. So big happy 5-4 to Wally Tierheimer. Jason Russo, Edward Bray, Donald Stewart out of pit row. Jason Russo taking the lead out of pit row. Edward Bray losing 1 spot to Donald Stewart. Keeping cameras focused on Jason Russo with a green flag pit stop here on lap 75. Now the rule is, folks, he has got to stay below that yellow line till he is onto the flat of that backstretch. Looking at Jason Russo, safely observing all pit row rules and conditions. Big shout out to Jason Russo right now doing everything he can to get that Pro Automotive Camaro back up on track, back up to speed. Good job, Jason Russo, Donald Stewart, Edward Bray. Back up to the front with Everett Lane, Tor Helebo, Ivan Garcia running our top 3. Lynn McNeese is in position 4, and Lynn McNeese actually getting a little bit of a pushing job from Freeman Kelly. Now, Freeman Kelly is 1 lap down, but we need him to race like this is the last lap as long as he does not cause any problems out here. Looking at Everett Lane, Tor Helebo, Ivan Garcia, positions 1, 2, and 3 here on lap 77. 4 cautions, 23 lead changes. Great racing out here in the Friday Night Flight Series. Brought to you by Pro Automotive, Richie B's Pizza, Blaze Pizza, and a whole boatload of individual donators. Great guys making great things happen out here on a Friday night. Everett Lane, Tor Helebo leading lap 77, 1 and 2. Possible pit stops coming up for Everett and Tor. We do know they are going to be running low on fuel very soon. We're going to keep these cameras locked and loaded on Everett and Tor. Talk on the track as they are going to be hitting pit row very, very soon. We do know they are running low on fuel. And I tell you what, folks, that would be totally awesome out here if we could see double rounds of green flag pit stops coming up. Right now it is anybody's game out here at Daytona. We've got 9 drivers on that lead lap. We've got 3 drivers 1 lap down. We've got a handful of drivers still into it. Greg McClendon actually 11 laps down. What a trooper. Greg McClendon still in it. The eyes are focused up on Everett and Tor, expecting some green flag pit stops any moment. Everett Lane doing a great job, possibly leading the most laps tonight. Not actually sure about that, but we do know for sure Everett Lane has been up here in the front most of the night. Tor Halebo has been up here in the front most of the night, and Lori B. Lori, there is number 72 of Ivan Garcia rocking out that number 3rd spot with that Mickey D's Ford Fusion. Everett Lane, Tor Halebo, one more time past pit road. Must be draining these tanks. Now, something else these drivers can do out here when they know they have got way past their pit window. Their pit window is 30 laps. Right now, they're looking at about a needed 20. What they're going to do, folks, they're going to get into pit row and they're going to say, hey, just give me a few gallons. These tanks will hold 14.1 gallons. So right now, if they were to pit right now, they're looking at about needing 11 gallons, and that'll knock about 2 seconds off of your pit road stop. So right now, they're trying to drain that tank. The longer they can stay out, the more they can drain that tank. The faster they go, the lighter that car will be, because there's obviously less weight from the fuel load in it, and the less they're going to have to stop. We have seen many a time out here, folks, that they have done a dash and grab. I'm going to be about 2 laps short. Just going to go in, get a little swig. They're in and out inside of 2.5 seconds. Right now, I would estimate if they were to pit right now, they're going to be looking at about a 9-second pit stop. They're not going to need a full tank. Right now, they're looking at about needing 3/4 of a tank. I'm not sure exactly how much they have left in these Xfinity class cars, but keeping cameras locked and loaded onto Everett and Tor and Ivan. Positions 1, 2, and 3 rolling right along at 195 miles per hour on lap 81 of 100. Big shout out to those fans out there. Michelle McMaster Eisenhower saying, I never knew that about the yellow line. I guess I had just taught Michelle McMaster Eisenhower. And I tell you what, that makes me feel good, ladies and gentlemen. It is not only all about the racers. It is not all about my team. It is not even all about the broadcaster. It is all about our fans out there. Because like I always say, every time I say it, if it were not for my fans out there, for the fans of All Pro Broadcasting, for the fans of KMA Racing, well, we'd be sitting up here talking to ourselves and, well, I don't know, they may have to put us into some kind of a padded room or something. Love my fans. KMA loves the fans. APB loves the fans. Appreciate the fans sticking behind All Pro Broadcasting and KMA Racing. Still got those cameras locked and loaded on Everett Lane, Tor Halebo. One more time by. Thought for sure they would have been pitting out by now. But draining that tank. Every ounce they can get is one more second. They will not spin in pit road. Locked and loaded on Everett Lane. Lap 83. 23 lead changes, 4 cautions in race 2 of the Friday Night Flights. Brought to you by Richie B's Pro Automotive and Blaze Pizza and a handful of individual sponsors. One more time by. I tell you what, they might be draining these tanks and pushing their lucks. Be sure to check us out on Monday as we are at Watkins Glen. Make sure you check us out on Tuesday. I believe we're at Texas, but do not quote me on that. And check out Domino's TYJ with the good old boys, Judd Danielson, Robert Graham McFarland, out there on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then we'll be right back at you next Friday, 1 week from tonight at Michigan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, next Saturday, 1 week from tomorrow, January 21st, we are doing the DFDA, the Drive for Diabetes Awareness. It'll be a great race for a great cause. I've already posted up some links out there on Facebook. Hope you are checking them out. Several drivers on my own team, my personal friends, they battle with diabetes. A lot of people out there battle with diabetes. And that race will be sponsored by Brent Kill. Now, on a little bit of a sad note, The reason for this race, a year ago, Brent's son, Rocco, was misdiagnosed and unfortunately lost the battle. So, Brent wanted to do something very special. Brent wanted to bring some awareness out here to diabetes awareness. So next Saturday night, January 21st, the Drive for Diabetes Awareness. That will be 100 laps, Talladega in trucks. Great cause, great way to get out there and show your support. Everybody knows somebody who has been affected by diabetes. So next Saturday, we're going to hear about the story of Rocco Kill, brought to you by his father, Brent Kill, in the Drive for Diabetes Awareness, Saturday, January 21st, live broadcast by All Pro Broadcasting. Cameras still locked and loaded up here on Everett Lane. Long green flags. I tell you what, he must have given these hamsters a little bit of a Gatorade push, because right now he has got to be on his way to draining this tank out here. Everett Lane, Troy Halebo, Ivan Garcia, David Gainsforth, and Craig Hawkins, positions 1 through 5. Lynn McNeese in position 6. There goes Ivan Garcia, loose. Ivan Garcia is loose, but he is solid. Nice save. Ivan Garcia getting a little scary right there. Correcting, coming back up onto the track. Looking at the number 31, having some severe warping issues right there. 31 having some internet issues right now. Unfortunate break right there, trying to get back and stabilized. Sometimes these drivers start disappearing with the internet issues, and it looks a little bit crazy out here. All right, we have settled down up here in the front. Everett F. Lane out there in front with Tor Halebo. Alrighty, folks, we have been told that everybody on this track is right now experiencing some connection difficulties. Bear with us. I know it looks a little bit crazy. I know you're seeing it out there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when this does happen, I'm going to talk to you directly about this right now. The servers of our beloved game, iRacing. It's a simulation. It is not a game. I will stand in the corner. It is not a game. Right now, it's getting a little bit crazy out here, possibly on a bad server. Alrighty, come on iRacing. We only got 12 more laps to go. Hold it together. And because of that, ladies and gentlemen, is because of the popularity of iRacing, sometimes these servers, it's like the old days in the telephone. You got 100 million people trying to dial that time and temperature number, and the lines get jammed up. You get into overload. It's like 100 fat guys trying to fit through a one-way door to the donut shop. It just ain't gonna happen. Things starting to settle down right now. A little bit crazy out there. But Everett Lane, Troy Halebo out there in front, and amazing right here, guys. When they saw these drivers in trouble with this situation, the leaders giving a large leeway, not wanting to be tucked up. It's kind of hard to push a car once you're up there getting a little bit tight and they start disappearing. All right, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have lost 5 drivers due to this broken internet connection. You hate it when you get dropped. That's what it's called, ladies and gentlemen. Always like to educate my fans, and I know Michelle McMaster Eisenhower loves the in and outs of iRacing. All right, Michelle McMaster, right there you saw our biggest enemy, Redneck Racing. That is netcode. Right now, the drivers, a few drivers have dropped, but they're trying to get back in here. Things have settled down. All right, back to what we were doing, and what we were doing was waiting for Everett Lane and Tor Halebo and Ivan Garcia to go in for green flag pit stops. Right now we are on lap 90. Right now we are on lap 91. 9 to go. Have fully expected Everett Lane and Tori Halebo to go into pit row. They have got a 38-second lead out of 5th place. 5th place belonging to Donald Stewart, Jason Russo, and Edward Bray. Donald Stewart, Jason Russo, Edward Bray in 5th, 6th, and 7th. They have pitted. They are good to go on fuel. Everett Lane, Tori Halebo, Ivan Garcia, not so much. So the question is, folks, Does Everett have enough? I don't think he does. Can Everett get in the pit lane and out of pit lane? Alrighty, I've got word on the track. Everett Lane for Halevo should be going in next time by. Alrighty, question to the fans. Can Everett and Tor get in and out of pit row before Donald, Jason, and Edward? Can they get in and out of pit row before Donald, Jason, and Edward Bray catch up? Donald, Jason, and Edward are 40 seconds back. Everett and Tor going into pit row very soon. Going to be some green flag pit stops coming up by our race leader, Everett Lane, and the number 4, Tor Halevo. Not quite sure what Ivan Garcia is going to do. Ivan Garcia is going to rock that apron. Hang on to her, Ivan. Ivan Garcia, hang on to it, brother. Ivan trying to save it. Ivan off track. Ivan coming up into the track. Will that caution fly? Unfortunately, I believe that caution will fly. Ivan Garcia parked and stopped. And, ladies and gentlemen, that was a tight one right there. I thought for sure that caution was going to fly as Ivan Garcia losing it. Great job by Ivan Garcia, though, hanging on to it, doing everything he could to save it. Cameras back on Everett Lane and Tor Halevo. Looking at 188 miles per hour on lap 93. I do believe they're going to be pitting this time by. But I tell you what, folks, what a save by Ivan Garcia. Congratulations, Ivan Garcia, saving it, not bringing out that caution. Everett Lane one more time by. Thought for sure they were going to pit that time. If they do not pit soon, they are going to be in some very serious trouble. They can only drain these tanks so much. So where that puts us, folks, is Everett Lane is in position 1 and 2, needing to pit. They are pitting this time by. Everett Lane, Tor Halevo going into pit row. Donald Stewart, Edward Bray, Jason Russo, 37 seconds back. Will Edward Bray, Donald Stewart, Jason Russo be able to take the lead? Will Everett Lane, Tor Halevo get in and out of pit row? They've got to get in, they have got to get out, they have got to get caught back up. They have got 35 seconds, and there goes Everett and Tor side by side in the pit row. Green flags, pit stops on lap 94. Cameras locked and loaded on Everett Lane. Tell you what, folks, what a great night out here tonight. 4 cautions, 23 lead changes. That number is going to change. Watching Everett and Tor going in for green flag pit stops. You knew they could do it. I knew they could do it. Let's see what happens. In for a splash and out with a dash. Green flag pit stops for Tor and Everett. Tor just a little bit faster on that get out than his good buddy Everett Lane. We have got Donald Stewart, Edward Bray, Jason Russo tearing down on them very quickly. Right now, Tor and Everett running for their lives. Safe merge up onto track. Always like to see those safe merges. And we do have Donald Stewart, Edward Bray, Jason Russo will pass the recently pitted vehicles of Tor Halevo at 66, blowing up Edward Bray, Edward Bray getting too hot. Unfortunate break for the Reaper. Edward Bray blowing up and out of it on lap 95. But I tell you what a trooper right there. Edward Bray doing everything he could to help out his teammates. Alrighty, well I tell you what, folks, we have got some racing time to hit me up on that chat. We have got Donald Stewart, Jason Russo out here in front, 1 and 2. But 1.6 seconds back, hot and heavy. Here comes Tor Halevo, Everett Lane. Almost up to the rear end. I do believe they may catch our race leaders, Donald Stewart, Jason Russo. I tell you what, folks, let me know who you're rooting for out here. We've got Donald Stewart, Jason Russo, 1 and 2. We've got Tor Halevo, Everett Lane, coming up hot, coming up heavy, coming up loud and proud on that outside lane. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, as we've got a little bit of net code. Net code going on, and ladies and gentlemen, what a change of events here. We still are caution free, but the number 32 of Jason Russo going into pit row. A little bit of rocking and a jockeying right there for position. Number 78, Donald Stewart, out here in front, has lost his partner. That will give Everett Lane and Troy Holobo possibly a guaranteed 1 and 2 finish. Not sure what happened back there with Jason Russo. We're going to go back and review that once this race is over. I do believe we saw a little bit of net code going on right there, but you just hate it when that happens. But Jason Russo right now getting a little bit of help from the number 31 of Freeman Kelly. Freeman Kelly 4 laps down, but ladies and gentlemen, on lap 98, we're looking at Troy Holobo, Everett Lane, Donald Stewart, positions 1, 2, and 3. That odd event that just happened with Jason Russo. I'm not sure if it was net code or what, but we're definitely going to go back and take a look at that. That was kind of crazy, folks. But right now, locked and loaded on our front 3. For Holobo, Everett Lane, Donald Stewart. Donald Stewart without a partner out here. Everett Lane, I'm pretty sure, is going to stay true blue to Tor. They were in and out of the pit row. And I tell you what, folks, once you go in with somebody in pit row, you're kind of locked on them. They're kind of your best friend. You kind of got to stick with them. So we do expect Tor Holobo and Everett Lane to take down a 1 and 2 unless Everett Lane gets greedy. Now, if Everett Lane goes to pass Tor Holobo on that last lap, well, Donald Stewart, he's going to be in a position to push somebody. But unfortunately, I think Donald Stewart will have to settle for a position 3 tonight. So the question is, will it be Tor Holobo? Will it be Everett Lane? But I tell you what, it will be only 4 cautions out here tonight and 26 lead changes. I knew they could do it. You know they could do it. 4 cautions, ladies and gentlemen, and we are on that last lap. Tor Holobo leading that final lap, coming to the checkered flag. Tor Holobo, Everett Lane, doing a very great job. There goes Donald Stewart with one last move onto that outside, trying to get at least the second place, getting up to the quarter panel of Everett, but he has got no help. Everett Lane feeding off of that draft of the number 4 of Tor Holobo. Donald Stewart trying to get up there. Not quite. Yes, no, maybe so. And I tell you what, folks, what a finish out here tonight at Daytona. And our race results are in. And indeed, it will be Tor Holobo, Everett Lane, and Donald Stewart. Alrighty, folks, let's hang out real quick for some post-race interviews. Joining me up in the booth is Donald Stewart. How about it, Donald Stewart? Have you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got you there, quick.
Alrighty, copy that. Very proud of you. You are one of my KMA drivers, bringing home a very solid number 3. Talk to me about the last couple of laps right there. Got a little bit crazy with the net code. Not sure what happened up with Jason Russo. What was going on out there?
What a night. It was crazy. Me and Jason, we were going to stay together there, and Tor and Everett, they had a run, and I was telling Jason, let's just make the track wide, let's make it wide, and I made it too wide, and I bumped into him, and Jason went down and gave and lost it.
Alrighty, copy that. Well, I tell you what, if it makes you feel any better, we did see a little bit of net code out there, kind of a crazy night. All the cars were jumping, UFOs. Michelle McMaster's out there talking about UFOs. Nonetheless, Donald Stewart bringing home a number 3 spot for KMA. Good job, Donald Stewart.
Thank you, Slick.
Alrighty, joining us also in the booth is our number 2 spot, Everett F. Lane. How about it, Everett F. Lane? Have you got a copy, sir?
What a night, what a night, what a night.
What a night. You know, we were watching you and Tor out there on those pit stops, and I must have said probably 100 million times, surely they're going into pit row. Surely they're going. And they were like, quit calling me Shirley. But you guys finally went into pit row together, friends forever. You know, great job. Talk to me about that strategy right there.
Yeah, we got to get together with Tor there toward the end of the race, which is good. He's a very good super speedway racer. So we got hooked up together. We made our decision to stay out as long as we could. maybe we were going to get lucky and get a caution. A lot of good drivers in here tonight. We didn't get it when we needed it. So we put it there, and we came out, and the three of them went right on by us like we were sitting still, and we said, like, uh-oh, think we're in trouble. And then, unfortunately, Edward blew up, and we were able to catch him back up. And then, like you said, there's a lot of internet problems tonight here.
Copy that. Michelle swearing she saw a UFO out there on the field. Who you want to give a big shout-out to real quick, Everett?
I want to give a shout-out to my mom out there who watches every week and watches me have fun out here, and she roots me on. And, hey, Tor, welcome back to Super Speedway Racing, buddy. I'm glad to see you're back.
All righty, copy that. Well, how about it, Tori? He's talking to you, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Everett. It was a fun race. It was a little crazy, but we actually spoke at the very first there when we started 1 and 2 to start a race that we might try to hook up. We had Louis Sparks with us, and unfortunately he got wrecked out. I was let down there for a while. I was able to get back on the lead lap, and at the end there, I think there was a whole school of KMA cars up there, and Everett and I were going to give them a race for their money. So yeah, like Everett said, we tried to stay out there as long as we could, and when we came back out, we thought they came real fast, and unfortunately he blew up, and that gave us a chance to come back. And then a little bumping and rubbing and some net code and a bad server, and eventually we got there. I actually tried to give it to Everett at the end. He did a real good job, but he got a good real run on us on the end there, so I just had to try to get the first place. So it was fun. Thanks again, KMA, and thanks everybody. It was a good race.
All right, copy that. Big shout out to you, Tor. We had mentioned our good friend Mark out there. I'm pretty sure he was riding shotgun with you out there. Good win, good race. Good green flag pit stops. Congratulations to the number 4, Tor Helebo.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Mark Maffett is always with us.
All righty, copy that. Mark Maffett, recently deceased power player here in iRacing, Tor's best friend. Great drivers out here tonight. What a race, ladies and gentlemen. 4 cautions, only 4 cautions, 23 lead changes. Tor, Everett, Diamond, we saw green flag pit stops, we saw UFOs, we saw a couple of cars actually flipping upside down, saw some crazy stuff, but these drivers held it together. 6 drivers on the lead lap, and anytime we only have 6 drivers on the lead lap, you know what that means. The men and boys were separated out in pit row. Alrighty, final shout out to All Pro Broadcasting. What a great broadcast. Big shout out to the fans. Keeping it calm and nice out there on the broadcasting chat. Michelle, Becky, Martha, Rednecks. Love my fans. APB loves their fans. Check us out on Monday at Watkins Glen. Tuesday night, be sure to catch Wednesdays and Thursdays with Domino's TYJ. And we'll see you next week, 1 week from tonight, back here at Michigan. KMA, APB, I am Scott Kovic. He is Mike Lamico. And keep PAD on your mind and in your thoughts. People against distracted driving. I am Scott, he is Mike. And we are out of here. Good night, folks.
This is the big boys club. Nobody does it quite the way a CLT does. Clean in, clean out. The boys are the best, and they'll be coming for your shells in the deck. So if you see a fallen man coming with guns, you better reconsider whose side you're on. These boys are cold.
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driving the number 0 JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.